Hey, this is Lance. This is a grand experiment. I don't know if you're watching this, then I've decided that the experiment was a success. You can decide whether I was right or not. I am parked at Carnegie Mellon University. I am getting ready to hear my euphonium auditioners, applicants for next year. I've got, I believe, 7 of them today and 1 taped submission. And I thought it might be interesting. I certainly won't divulge any personal information about any of the candidates, but I thought you might find it interesting to know kind of what I'm thinking going into it, and then I'll share my reflections after the end of the day, just to let you know what I heard today. I anticipate it'll be similar to my past experiences. I've been listening to applicants for undergraduate and graduate study in euphonium for a freaking long time. 2000, so that's a long time ago. And so this is, I wouldn't say that it has changed tons. So what I know now that I didn't know then is that it doesn't take me a long time to figure out, I should say it a different way, my gut instinct is usually right about how someone plays, and I can tell a lot just in the first few notes as to whether their face is put together correctly, if their brain, what kind of brain they have. And then after I hear them play a little bit, I generally will throw some curveballs at them. Nothing scary, but I'll say, hey, try that a little louder, a little softer, a little faster, a little whatever, just to see how they react. And then I like to throw some sort of teaching moment at them, or suggest that they try something. And the reasons I do those is just to see how they react to feedback and what they do with it. Do they understand the concept that I'm throwing at them? Can they apply the idea to their own playing? I spend a lot of time talking to them because, like I said, I can tell a lot in a short amount of playing. And I can tell some stuff based on the sorts of experiences that they've had. I generally will have them play something lyrical, something technical. I may have them do some scales, probably will, for sure for the undergrads. And then I may or may not do some sight reading. But I find that talking to them, if their face is put together and if they can follow instructions, then a lot of it has to do with their personality. And the longer I teach, the more deliberate I am about the kind of person. I feel very protective of my studio. I have a pretty strict no a-hole rule, and that it doesn't happen that often. I don't generally attract that sort of candidate. The other thing you should know is that I don't make any secret about the fact that if students are super interested in a gig in a military band, that may or may not be I may or may not be the right fit for them. I might encourage them to go look to some other schools. I'm much more interested in more entrepreneurial students, students who want to combine a variety of different things. And so I don't turn away students who want to do military bands, but I feel like there are other folks who can do that for them. So I would rather do stuff that we can only do here. So with that as prelude, I'm going to head in and see what we've got. I'll report back afterwards. Hope you find this interesting. Well, I survived it. Actually, I had one more student than I realized. So there were 2 taped auditions and 7 live. And everybody did really, really well today. I would say that, the takeaways are the same things that you hear said over and over and over again. More air. More dynamic contrast. I mean, we sound like broken records, and it seems almost like a cliche, but it's the truth. And every time I asked a student to play with more wind, the tone got better, the phrases got better, the intonation got better, everything got better. So that's a real takeaway. If you are or coaching somebody who you are someone, or you are coaching someone who is going to take an audition, my advice is to just go for it and lay it all out there. I'll say that I had one student who this person completely laid it out, and I was so excited, and I actually had to ask them to back off a little bit a couple times just to sort of test their softer dynamics, because they just came in guns a-blazes, and it was fantastic, and it was super high energy and lots of personality. And so it wasn't just this euphonium operator, it was a musician, and I could hear personality behind it. And I had a great opportunity to speak with each of the students, and it kind of went the way I expected it to and the way I described it to you. So my advice is to come in and be who you are. Use more air almost 100% of the time. And, don't be afraid to ask questions. It took a little time and prodding to get students to ask me questions. And then as soon as we got the first one or two down, then there were actually 50 questions that I knew that they had, but they just were a little self-conscious about asking. So don't be afraid to ask. This is your opportunity as well. So you, a potential auditioner, is every bit as you're shopping for us and we're shopping for you. So you should feel like you're getting all of your questions answered, and you should feel like you got to play everything you wanted to play, and you should feel like you got the sorts of experiences that you wanted, because this is the time and the opportunity to do it. If not now, when? So another piece of advice is to stay in touch with the teachers and the school. A lot of times I think it can be uncomfortable if you know you might not be interested in going to school number 2 on your list of 5. The sooner you know that, as soon as you know that, communicate that to the school. You're going to do everybody a big favor. Nobody's going to be upset or mad at you, but just share that information so that then everybody can plan accordingly. I had 9 people audition. There were 5 undergrad and 4 grad. And so I need to know who's interested and who's not interested, so I know who to go pursue. And when it comes down to scholarships, then I know who I can go into our admissions folks and say, yeah, I really, really want this person, and they really want to come here. Instead of, yeah, I really want this person, except this person isn't returning my calls, or they're not responding to my emails, and we each get this sort of spidey sense tingling after the offers go out, and it gets mysteriously quiet with some people, and I think that's just a matter of uncomfortableness. But my advice to you is to just speak up as soon as you know, one way or the other. And it's okay to say, I'm not 100% sure, here are my concerns, because maybe I can, if I hear those and I know those concerns, maybe there's something I can do about them, including to tell you, look, I can't do anything about that. So if that's important to you, then this isn't, well, for example, if you want to have I went to Michigan State, and so I played in band, I was in a band rehearsal every day, basically, with one of the groups that I was playing with. At Carnegie Mellon, it's more of a conservatory style school. And so I can't, if you want to be in band all the time, then you need to not come to Carnegie Mellon, because we run it more like a conservatory or a professional simulation. So for 2 weeks it'll be orchestra, and then 2 weeks it'll be wind ensemble, and then back to orchestra and back to wind ensemble. So when it's in an orchestra cycle, there's nothing necessarily for the euphoniums to do unless they happen to be doing some of that repertoire that features the euphonium or bass trumpet or tenor tuba or whatever. So knowing that up front, so I tend to ask lots and lots of questions about that, and that also goes to the thing I said earlier about, there's probably better schools for you if you want to gig in a military band. Not that we can't do it, but it's, we're better equipped to build entrepreneurial ventures and to put together strange and wonderful new initiatives, and to help broaden your skill base and experience base. And that's where we are, and that's what's important to us. And in considering schools, what do those schools stand for is a question to ask yourself, and what's important to them. And every school cannot be everything to everybody, and they shouldn't try. And if someone is telling you that they can, then you question their advice, because they can't. So long story short, the students probably each played between their 15-minute slots, and I probably heard them play for 7 to 10 minutes in those slots, and we talked for about 5 minutes. In some cases, students had come and they had taken lessons with me, so I only had them play for 4 or 5 minutes, and then we talked for 10 or 12 minutes because I already knew how they played and I knew what kind of musician they were, and I wanted to make sure that we got all of the questions answered that were on their minds. Yeah, I think that's about it. I hope you found this useful. I thought that hearing it from this horse's mouth might be valuable to you in some way. Feel free to throw any questions at me. Thanks again for checking this out, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Bye.